Larry, Fort Worth Memories Museum and Groups. And YouTube at Fort Worth Memories. Okay, there I am. So today it's going to act right. Let me style the video. It's a beautiful day out there. If y'all can hear that helicopter in the background, it's not from anybody looking for anybody. They're lowering an AC unit or something on a building. It looks like it couldn't be no farther than the Fort Worth Zoo. Wednesday, February 26th. I'm going to tell everybody good morning. And we're going to share it to the internet. Well, come on. Share it to memories and live videos. Okay. Gene is in. Greg and Don are in. I'm in. That's everybody. Alright. I had to stop on the way in and look at a lady's car that had been keyed. It wasn't even keyed with a key, it was a screwdriver. I mean, it went all the way through the front fender, driver's side, to the second door, and then on the back fender they wrote bitch and scratched in. I told her, I said, oh no, there's nothing a detail shop can do. You're going to have to get it repainted or get the insurance company out here. It's an older model Lexus. And I told her, I said, they'll probably total the car. Larry's in, Gene's in, Brittany. So then she informed me that all she had was liability insurance, and I said, wow. I told her Clay Winstead, who's our paint and body sponsor, but man, I told her worst case scenario, if she would go to the Lexus store and get that touch-up, they sell those touch-up pencils, that's the right color, but that's a 3-stage paint, so I can make it better, but you're probably still going to be able to tell it. But it'll be a lot of work. I mean, minimum $500, I told her, but then she said, well, if we can just get rid of the word on the back fender. And so I told her to bring it. The only day she could bring it in is Saturday morning real early, and so I told her I'd meet her up here and see what we could figure out, man. But I told her, I said, hey, this is somebody, this ain't random. This is boyfriend, something. And she then told me she had to be like in her 30s or 40s. She said, it's probably my daughter. I thought, wow. Anyway, so that's why I didn't start at 7. So it's 7:35. Weather's pretty. Marilyn's in. Gene's in. Good morning to all of y'all. Hold on, my other phone is. Hold on. Okay. We can't find you on. Are you live? Yeah, I'm live. Pam is in. That's because I just started. Well, they can't hear me if they're not on there yet. Good morning. Okay, there you are. It's because I just started. I told the other folks that are in that I had to stop and look at a lady's older Lexus that somebody used a screwdriver on it, gone from the front fender all the way to the back fender, and I mean real deep. I mean into the metal skins. I told her that's. At first I figured she had full coverage. I said, well, you just start shopping for a car because they're not going to fix this. It's a 15-year-old Lexus, maybe older than that. But on the back quarter panel, they were scratched in bitch. And I said, this is your husband, boyfriend, ex-husband, something. She told me it was probably her daughter that they didn't get along. Man. Okay, so what y'all's... Well, that's outside of Fort Worth or Tarrant County, but what's your question about Buffalo Bill Cody? He had his Wild West show at Northside Coliseum, or Cowtown Coliseum back then. And since we were on such good terms, I say that loosely, with the Native Americans, we had one of the hierarchies up in the Apaches, relatives of Quanah Parker. They all got in on the show. So you're wanting to know, you heard a story that they kept his what? His body. Oh yeah, no, that's a true story. Buffalo Bill Cody had made 2 wills. One early in life, or early when he really was, his Wild West show was pretty famous all the years he was alive. So he was a legend in his own time. Unlike Wyatt Earp wasn't even heard of until after he died. And a journalist made that happen. No, but in earlier accounts, the shootout at the OK Corral, which wasn't at the OK Corral, but it was in close proximity, was a little squib in a newspaper. But Buffalo Bill Cody had first said he wanted to be buried in Cody, Wyoming, which he founded Cody, Wyoming. But in later life, he wanted to be buried on Hilltop Mountain. And I'm not sure where that really was. So his heirs and the executor of the estate said, well, we're going to honor his wishes and bury him on Hilltop Mountain, I think. Y'all can look it up. But it was in the winter. The roads, which were at a steep incline, were covered in snow and ice. So the funeral home kept his body in cold storage for about 6 months. They had to do multiple embalments to keep the body anywhere near visible, but it wasn't an open. That was already after the fact, so they didn't have to open the casket. So that's true, yes. What year did what? Cowtown Coliseum, 1908. You're asking for a timeline on stuff. Let's just put it from the start, 1901 or 1900. 1901, Carnegie Public Library opened. Andrew Carnegie, at the time, was one of the richest men in the world. In fact, I think he was the richest man in the world for many, many years. He was worth several $billions in the early 1900s. So he wanted his name to carry on. So he would go to a city that had a good-sized population, and he would say, he didn't do it, one of his aides, Andrew will donate $50,000. You've got to donate the land. The city has to donate the land, designated, and the people with Andrew Carnegie said, we kind of oversee the construction, but whatever it is, if it's $100,000, we'll pay 50 of it, and you pay 50 of it. So that happened. 1903, Swift and Armour opened their doors, meatpacking. 1905 and 6, it really wasn't. 1907, the Young Women's WYCA was opened. The first fire station number 1 was open. 1908, Cowtown Coliseum. 1909 was the year of the big fire. It burned up 20 blocks in the south side, and it got all the way to the train station, or to buildings closer to downtown, but they finally got it stopped. The winds were 40 miles an hour, and all of the local fire companies, they came from Dallas, so the battalion chief, I think that's who was in charge, he instructed a couple of his firemen to go up 10 or 20 blocks and tell people to evacuate their houses. Everything was made out of wood, and the fire's coming. By the time they got there, the fire had already got there. So the Dallas Fire Department, I don't think they actually got here in time before it was put out. A big help was the city of North Fort Worth. They sent 3 companies, I believe, and they got it contained. The zoo was opened in 1909 too. Greenwood was opened in 1909. So 1910, TCU started setting up shop here, and their first buildings were down right in the big middle of Hell's Half Acre. Not 1912, population was, what was the population in 1912? 73,000 people. Also in 1912, the city annexed the city of North Fort Worth. 1914, or really 1913, Lake Worth, the lake was formed, the dam. Allen Chapel Episcopal Church was opened. 1922, Niles City was started. That was a bookkeeping. The reason they even opened it was to try to cheat, or try not to pay as much tax as they had to, so they incorporated, and it became the richest city in America. Armour and Swift both opened in 1903, Maryland. Okay, the population in 1920 was 106,000 and change. KFJZ and WBAP radio started broadcasting in 22. 27, it was KTAT. That was the radio station that Milton Brown and several of our early day crooners, they broadcast on KTAT. So then you move on up to 1929, Blackstone Hotel, which was really a famous hotel. It opened, and that was in 29. What year was what? 1903. 1930, the TMP passenger train station opened. Also, for the golfers, in 1930, Zebo's was opened. Population was 163,000. So we grew pretty rapidly in those early years. Then 31 and 32. So you're talking about years associated with the Depression. So really, people just kind of hunkered down. 33, Botanic Gardens opened. U.S. Post Office was constructed late 32 and early 33. It opened. 36, we started construction on the U.S. Mental Health and Narcotics Farm, which actually opened its doors in 38. There was two in the country, one here and one in Kansas City. Kansas City must have had somebody equivalent to Amon Carter, because the bomber plant, there was two, one here, one in Kansas City. The meatpacking plants were big here, big in Kansas City. The narcotics farm and mental health, one here and one in Kansas City. So somebody was pushing the buttons of the decision makers in both cities, and of course in our case it was Amon Giles Carter Sr. City Hall was not 38, 39. The City Hall that we all remember. 1940, this was a significant year for the African American race. The Lake Como newspaper started publishing. The population in 40 was 177,600 and something. 42, Tarrant Field, the U.S. Army Tarrant Field opened. Consolidated Vultee, yes, you're right. They got here in 42. 45, of course, we're in the middle of the war then. Fort Worth's Children's Museum opens. 46, that's the year the Fort Worth Opera started, with the help of, it was actually started by three local, well, they lived here, but they weren't born here, ladies, and Ernest Allen, the car dealer, helped push that. 46, also, All Saints Episcopal Church opened. 1948 was the year of television. WBAP, the first television broadcast in Fort Worth. You turned on the television and saw Amon Giles Carter. Also in 48, Tarrant County Historical Association was formed. 1950, first drive-in in Fort Worth, the Cowtown Drive-In. The population then rose to 278,000. So from 30 to 40, 163,000 to 278, so that's 5 to, what is that? 100,000 and something in 10 years. That's a pretty good clip. 20,000. Well, no, it wouldn't be 20,000 a year. It'd be 10,000 a year. A little over 10,000. Well, all I can tell you is Amon ran the city. He didn't take any orders from anybody, but he didn't hold any elected official's job. But also, you got to remember, in those early years, from the 20s, from really the 30s, to Willard Barr being elected mayor in the early 50s, we, the citizens, did not elect the mayor. We elected 9 city council members. They picked the mayor. But Fort Worth still had, we were still under operation with city manager and city council members and mayor. But really in Fort Worth, the mayor's job is just another vote, just one vote. She really doesn't, she has influential power, which her predecessor, Betsy Price, had the same. They influence a lot, Mike Moncrief. But as far as actually saying, if the city council says, we don't want that, and her and 2 or 3 city council members say we do want it, she gets outvoted. Which that very rarely happens. People, you gotta realize that when they have these weekly city council meetings and they vote on stuff, they've already, Bethany in her play, and with this mayor, chief of staff, has already garnished the votes and knows how city council members are going to vote. And sometimes that changes. Sometimes they, at the last minute, tell the mayor and her chief of staff, yeah, we're going to vote with you on that, and then the last minute not do it, and that kind of throws a monkey wrench into the deal. Willard Barr. In fact, I've been told by people that should have known for a fact, when the elections were held, Amon would see the results before anybody else. Of course, he owned the newspaper, so I'm sure that was, you had radio, and up until 48, you didn't have any television, so in 46 and to 30, 16 years or 17 years, you either heard it on the radio, which Amon controlled WBAP. He did not control KFJZ or KTAT, but okay. Y'all are going to come visit the museum, okay? Just let me know. Yeah, I can handle it. 30. Hold on. Yes, we can do a walkthrough, start on that side, and then single file. What year did, Armour, we already answered that. Other things happened. I just kind of hit on the high notes that I talk about. When am I going to start doing public? I've never stopped. I speak at VFWs, I speak at different businesses, large venues like the Fort Worth Club or the museums. I hadn't spoken at a museum or the Fort Worth Club last year, museum a couple of years ago. Well, I come to Cleburne and speak. That's kind of, it's outside my wheelhouse. I'm kind of a predictable guy. I do the same thing every day. And if I vary off the way home or the way here, it's unusual. Okay, thank you. That's it of Cleburne. All right, so it's going to be 70s. Let's see what the weather is going to do. 57 now, it's almost 60 degrees, going to get to 78. Tomorrow is 68, 73, 75, 74, 75, 79 on Tuesday, 64, 67, 67. Beautiful weather. Good weather to go horseback riding at Yellow Snake Horse, right there, Yellow Snake Horse and Brazos River Ranch. I don't know anything else. I never have heard. I'm going to see if it's on any of the news yet. Let's see. Let's try Channel 8 today. They don't very rarely have very much stuff. Fort Worth. Or I can't find it. Vehicle crashes into recently closed Pearl Snap Kolaches. Is that the one down there on White Settlement Road? Why did they close? Yeah, that's it. That's where the old Zyder Z was. That closed January 31st after 11 years in business. Wow. I didn't know that. I don't ever go that way. I mean, sometimes I go down White Settlement, but I get it over there. Well, yeah, I do go that way. I get it off of Bailey. Nope, still doesn't say anything about why that guy killed. I mean, you got to know you're going to prison forever. Why would you go kill people and not even try to hide it? That's really an anger deal, I think. 18,000 to cross migrants tell Texas DPS cartels raising smuggling price. So now the cartels charge people wanting to get in $18,000 they got to pay. But not all of that comes up front. A bunch of that you then work for them as indentured slaves. Abbott orders inquiry into Texas lottery blocks, third-party apps. I think that lottery's a scam anyway. You know, when we first did it, they sold us on the fact that X number of dollars was going to go to the kids, to schools. That didn't happen. Some of it, but not. Trump says U.S. will offer 5 million gold cards as path to citizenship. But you know what? This deal with Zelensky, have y'all seen that? Trump's agreed to whatever, continue support or whatever, but they have to sign off their mineral rights. Hell, that's huge. United States, what do we give him, 170 something billion? They'll recoup that if we get the mineral rights. And they say Zelensky and them have agreed to it. This guy can make deals. There's no other president ever even thought about that. Channel 5 don't have nothing either about that. I'm going to call, I still do some with a couple of car lots there in Mansfield. Search resuming for Malaysia Airlines after 11 years disappeared. That's the screwiest thing I've ever heard. Apparently they've given initial approval for Ocean Infinity, a marine robotics company based in Austin, to resume the search. I remember when that happened. I thought they thought it was one of the pilots that had terminal something. Anyway, if you need your headlights polished or got scratches or stuff that's pretty quick, we need the work. We need donations desperately. But anyway, to answer your question, I have scheduled some speaking engagements for gangsters in Cowtown, and one at a VFW for Fort Worth history. Okay, so let's start. That is Yellow Snake Horses, Brazos River Ranch. Dub Peacocks, A-Bird and AC Heating. If you've got problems with your unit, it's making noises or anything that's out of the ordinary, call Dub Peacock's team. Eric Walsh is in the real estate business. He is a board of directors member on my giveaway, Larry's Kids. All around good guy. Steve Coburn's Catering. Steve and them, if you got an event or a party or whatever, don't think if it's 10 or 15 people or 20 people, he can cater to any amount. He just got through with the stock show. Bert Ladner Real Estate. Wes Williams is associated with that group. Wes is also a board member of Larry's Kids. I can't say enough about Wes and Sarah. Whenever there's any kind of catastrophe, it seems like they're Johnny on the spot and they get there and help out. Great people. There's Dickie Carr, that's Richard Carr's nephew. He owns Grateful for Your Trees. So anything to do with trees, Dickie Carr is ready, willing, and able, he and his team, to go out and fix it. Besides trees, they do landscaping, all types of haul-off, demolition work, sells firewood, you name it, Dickie Carr's does it. Dickie Carr Sand and Gravel, that was Richard Carr's father. It's now owned by Pat and Richard Carr. What can you say? Richard and Pat were the first. When we made the giveaway, a non-profit last year, they ponied up a check for $5,000 immediately. Fort Worth Lumber Company is on the South Freeway, 35. They have been sponsors on our group forever, and they've also donated real good every year on the bike giveaway. Brandon Cross is our electrician, another family-owned business. If you've got any electrical problems, don't mess with it. You go out there and you'll electrocute yourself. Call Brandon Cross and let him send one of his specialists out there. Jenny Stewart, State Farm Insurance. Jenny has got a real good insurance business there. So call them. If you don't use State Farm, if you use Allstate or Farmers or somebody, Freeway, call Jenny Stewart's team and let them give you a quote. They might be able to save you some money. I've heard good things that they have saved people a lot of money. Old South Pancake House. The mainstay location is 1500 block of South University Drive. It's open 24/7. There's another location in Burleson. They're not open all night. They close at 9 or 10 at night. Cat Ranch Roofing is Jorge Hernandez. This is, I believe, his third year as one of our roofing sponsors. So if you think you've got an issue with your roof, contact Cat Ranch Roofing. You'll talk to Bree. She can set up an appointment to get one of their specialists out there. Let them climb up there and see what the problem is. Optimist Club of Fort Worth. They do lots of good things for youth. They have a lot of athletic programs. They give scholarships. Jeff Norman heads up the local one of the local ones. There's several different Optimist clubs, and they're international. They're all over the world. Why is that New York City mayor getting the charges dropped? I thought we wasn't doing that. Passport getaways. If you want to take a cruise, a trip, plan something for Christmas, go to Vegas on a junket, you want 3 or 4 of your family members that live in other cities to meet you there, let Passport Getaways do all of the legwork. Then all you got to do is supply the money and go enjoy yourself. Raines Plumbing. They are another family-owned business, and you know, we're big on local stuff. Buy Fort Worth, spend Fort Worth. But I've had a lot of great reviews for Raines Plumbing. There's our friend Charlie Guerin, Railhead Barbecue. He's a state rep. He's on the board of directors at Larry's Kids. We eat often at his barbecue place. He's a longtime sponsor of the group. Very active in the giveaway. When you pull up there, where's Charlie? He's loading bikes in people's cars or trucks. I can tell you where he is. Great guy. Casey Crawl Insurance. They are our Medicare and Medicaid specialists. They can navigate you through that process. If you try to do it on your own, you ain't going to make it. Unless you're just a brilliant person. I want to make sure something. Hold on. Where am I? There I am. I want to make sure I didn't miss any. We gave them $300 billion. Jesus. Good. I'm glad you liked it. I often tell people I've got the largest classroom in Texas. Casey Crawl, they can help you through Medicare and Medicaid. Just call them. They'll meet you at their office. They'll meet you at your office or your home. They'll meet you at a restaurant. Whatever. They're easy to do business with. Rex's Bar and Grill. That's in the same parking lot as Old South Pancake House, 1500 block of South University Drive. Rex's Bar and Grill used to be Macaroni Grill. Rex Benson has pulled a magic act and transformed that thing into the #1 premier sports bar anywhere around here. So March Madness is coming up. Go out there and Fort Worth High School disqualified. Go out there and watch the basketball tournament. Hey George, good morning. Stroud Auto Supply. I actually bought auto parts from Mr. Stroud, Danny Stroud's father, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, not 60. I had the guy that worked on my old 55 bought all his auto parts from Stroud Auto Supply, and at that time there was 2 big outfits, Kissinger and Cragen. But he said, no, just always go to Stroud, and I did. And now they're one of our sponsors. They're in the Haltom City, Riverside area. G2 Garage, Chris and his team. Thank you, Jeff. Chris and his team are in the White Settlement area. I've had a lot of good reviews. They've got a little special there, $25 off any repair that's $250 or more. Go see Chris. Tell him Larry sent you. Phelps Family Auto Care. They're in the Burleson area. Mike Phelps and his family and all of their employees, their team, they do a great job. When I first started advertising for them, you wouldn't believe all the people on our group said, hey, we've been knowing about them forever. Fort Worth Florist, Jeanette and her team, I had a lot of good reviews from the Valentine's Day rush, but it doesn't have to be Valentine's to send flowers. Weddings, funerals, just I love you flowers, whatever. They're located out on Camp Bowie, pretty far out. Just give them a call and they will, you can do it all over the phone. Great folks. Alpha Design and Build, that's Lance Sanders. They're our remodelers. They can remodel your business, your house. They can put a second story on your business or house. You got to make the call though. Scott Sumner is our IT guru. He's the guy that keeps all of these platforms running. I don't have a clue how he does it, but he's good. He can build you a website. Any technical issues, Scott can fix them. And you know, like for me on my business side, you get these Meta, whatever that crap is. I didn't respond to somebody and they're going to shut my Facebook group down. Meta is owned by Zuckerberg. And so, boy, the first time I ever got one, I thought, hell, I need to do something. And I sent it to Scott, and Scott said, no, it's fake. There's so many fake deals now. Winstead Paint and Body, I've been doing business with the Winsteads over 40 years. I was doing business with them before Clay Winstead was running it or owning it. Great folks. They're on White Settlement Road, just past Roberts Cutoff, across from where Crystal Springs, those new apartments and stuff opened. And don't forget, even though it's not cold weather, bring those fur babies inside. You don't want to stay outside all day, and neither do they. Okay, so we need a painter. We need a tire store. We need a lot of stuff. If you didn't hear me call off your whatever you're fixing to have done, a dentist, cheapest advertising in the world, $1,500 a year. That breaks down to $125 a month, which is $30 a week, to reach 131,000 active members on the one group. Our total reach is 196,000 active members. Yeah, when I talk about gangsters in Cowtown, is it all local gangsters? Yeah, what did you have in mind? Oh, no, Benny's okay. He just lived in Dallas at the Southland Hotel. He had a casino on the second floor. My dad worked for him through George Wilderspin. George Wilderspin owned the East Side Club over on Belknap. And so as a teenager, I forgot what we called that. Was it Tina Go-Go or Candy Stick a Go-Go, whatever it was. The kids all went, and then at midnight they shut it down. 1 o'clock in the morning, the adults came in. You bring your own bottle in. I used to see my dad. I'd be getting run out, and he'd be coming in. So, yes, there's one common denominator with all of those local gangsters, my dad included. They were all in the horse business. Benny, Wilderspin, Louis Tyndall, my dad, all of them. Herbert Nobles, Herbert the Cat Nobles, 12 attempts on his life. They finally got him out at his ranch fairly close to Grapevine. They ran a wire across the street. I can't believe he stopped at the cattle guard to check his mail. When he opened the mailbox, that was the end of him. Yeah, but I talk about the local. Tommy Tommy was not, me and Tommy met in Las Vegas in 1970. We're talking about Thomas D. Simone. In the movie Goodfellas, Joe Pesci played him. I was associated with the Savellas out of Kansas City, and in the '67 Super Bowl, Kansas City was playing Minnesota. Minnesota was a heavy favorite, and so Nicholas Savella sent me, I was a kid, to Vegas to try to lay it. They owned all the books in Kansas City. They were involved in several casinos. Sent me out there with $5 million to lay it off because everybody was betting Kansas City, and Kansas City won like 28-7. But I met for the first time Tommy there. They called him Two Gun Tommy. He was in that movie Goodfellas. He was the guy that was doing all the whacking. He was involved in the Lufthansa robbery, which was the largest robbery ever at the time. In the movie, they show Joe Pesci and his brother getting beaten with clubs in a cornfield, but they never found a body. So, but Tommy was a crazy dude. Me and him, our personalities kind of got together. There was an incident. I was living at the Vegas Club downtown. It was a real old casino, and they had apartments. And in between the Vegas Club and the strip joint, Glitter Gulch, I was going to go across the street and they had shrimp cocktail, 25 cents, at this little bitty casino that had 2 dice tables and 3 blackjack tables. And I heard a commotion, and it was 3 guys that's beating the hell out of one guy. And so I run over there like an idiot and immediately got hit. But then there was another guy that came on and stopped the assault, me and him together kind of, I guess. And it was Thomas D. Simone. And so the character, Joe Pesci played his character in Goodfellas. Tommy planted a lot of people. He had a bad temper. But me and him got along fine. He was associated with the Lucchese crime family. And in fact, I think he got kind of called on the carpet for I was associated with the Savellas, the Kansas City outfit, and he told me in a phone conversation that they looked down on him befriending me or anybody of any other family. So, yeah, I talk about Tommy. He was just a ruthless, he killed a lot of people. No telling how many people he killed. But if in fact the stories are true, John Gotti's the person that supposedly shot him in the back of the head, because Tommy had killed a made member of the Gambinos, Billy Batts, and he didn't get permission. Back then, you could hit somebody, you could hit an associate, but you couldn't hit a made member. To be a made member, you had to have 100% Italian heritage. But you could be an associate, like me, I'm Irish, and you could really hit an associate without approval, but to hit a made guy, you had to have approval. And like when Gotti and them hit Paul Castellano, to hit the head, you really got to have permission. I'm going to start that. It's going to be called, it's Gangsters in Cowtown. That's a company I have. It'll be at sports bars, VFWs, Usually there's a couple of hundred people show up. A lot of retired police officers that work my family. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna. It's what time? 8:20. Yeah, I got to get out here and get started. Don't forget the museum has got to have donations to stand. It just does. So it's up to y'all whether we continue on. I've been footing the bill for, in the early years, it wasn't anything. It was a room half this size dedicated to the museum. Well, we're getting a lot of restaurants that are closing. We need to remember, buy Fort Worth, spend Fort Worth, support our local businesses. Cleburne. Yes, you can make donations anytime to Larry's Kids. It's larryskids.org or larryskids.com. I think it's both of them. You can make a donation there anytime. We are actively, in fact, a good friend of mine who was by yesterday, we were talking, now's the time to start hustling big corporations and even y'all. If you say, Larry, I'm on a fixed income and I can do $10 or $15 a month, that's fine. If we had 1,000 of y'all, we wouldn't have any problem. So you can go on there, it's safe, it's secure. You make your $10 donation and then hit it again next month and next month and next month. If we could get you recurring, I don't know if you can do it. I'll ask Kyle or I'll ask Lindsay, the comptroller. I think we can set it up where it's recurring. That's a good question. It's not a good question about the date. It's December 13th this year, and it is at Farrington Field. The goal, last year we gave away 1,120, which put us at 19,550 since I started. So if we just do 1,000, which we're going to do more than that, that'll put us over $20,000, and that'll also put us over $1 million worth of bicycles in 39 years. That's valuing them at $50 a bike. That's way too low for now, but back in 89, 88, $50 might have been a little bit too high. So I've given away this year $1 million worth of bicycles. Why did I pick bicycles? Read my story in Fort Worth Magazine. I asked for a bicycle at an early age and got a broken jaw. I learned real quick not to ask for a bicycle again. Yeah, we'll probably hit 1,500. I have meetings with 2 or 3 large corporations coming up, and then plus that North Texas Giving Day, we're set up this year. There's no telling how much money we can get on that. If you've never heard of North Texas Giving Day, go to your search engine and research it. It's unbelievable. I think they raised $48 million in 2 or 3 weeks. And it all gets to certain, you have to be a nonprofit to receive anything, which we are. And with our nonprofit, last year was the first year, 100% of the donations, 100, not 97, 98, 100% went to buying bikes, toys, or helmets. Yes, Academy is kind of our go-to. We bought now thousands of bikes from Academy just in the last 4 or 5 years. Last year our initial order was 600. That was $45,000. Then we ordered another 100 and 100. We bought 800 bikes from Academy last year. The year before, I think it was around 600, somewhere in that vicinity. So, no, they've been real good to us. Uh, I hope that they can do maybe a little better. If you just knock off, the last 200 we bought, Kyle and some of the other board members said, Larry, we got plenty of little bikes. We need bigger bikes, 24s. So we ordered 200. So that was going to kick it up to $115 was going to be our price. Well, Lindsay, being a smart person, ordered on that Black Friday, not the Black Friday, but the following Monday when it's Cyber Monday or whatever that is. And he gave us okay, good. He knocked it down to $79. So people said, well, he knocked another $20 off, $20 off a bike. That's nothing. When you're buying a couple of hundred of them, it's a hell of a lot. It's $4,000. So yeah, our mind, I know all the board members, I can speak for them, all the associates that have helped us over the years. Everybody, it's right now, it's in our mind. Now's the time. We got to knock doors now. So I need your help to tell your neighbors, tell your church group. If you work at an office building with 20 of you, say, hey, let's start putting together a kitty or some money to go buy toys, bikes, or helmets for Larry's kids. And if you've never experienced the giveaway, it's moving. I can tell you. If you ever get to one of my giveaways, I won't have to worry about selling you no more. You'll be ready to jump in head first. Reaching 20,000 kids, that's a lot of help. And we're not even a drop in the bucket. The amount of families in Tarrant County under the poverty level will make you sick. Yes. Larry's kids. Yeah, you got it? That tells the story. I posted last night a lot of pictures of the last year's giveaway. We had a lot of our one good thing is we had 3 of our past mayors, which was well over 30 years worth of mayors, Mike Moncrief, Betsy Price, and Maddie Parker. And they're not out there for a photo op. They're out there to help participate. Brooke Rollins was there. Charlie Guerin was there. Michael Crane was there. Carlos Flores was there. And a bunch of wonderful, wonderful volunteers. People live in other cities come in to volunteer for that thing. There's Lynn and Earl Freeman. They're in the hill country. She says it's very moving. We look forward to doing it every year. Bill Palmer. Bill is an important cog in that thing. There's a group of about, I call them our frontline crew. Bill Palmer, Jeff Petrie, Don Istook, and others. They're the first people that meet the cars. They try to find out boy or girl, the age, so we can, and then they just start calling it out. Boy is 13, so that means you get a 24-inch bike or something. Toys, a girl, 7 years old, so then our volunteers have to go to the stack of toys and get 2 or 3 toys that fit that age group. It's over very quick. Yeah, so Jody Dean, y'all all know who he is. He's a famous radio disc jockey here. KVIL, K-Love, all kinds of radio stations. Jody is our Santa Claus now, I think 4 years in a row, and this will be the fifth. Uh, I used to get so dang frustrated with him. Back in the day, we would only have one or two lines, and Jody would ham it up with the kids and take the pictures and do all kinds of funny stuff. And I'd say, Jody, let them go over there and stop it. You're stopping the line. Well, this year, Maddie Parker, Brooke Rollins, and Jody Dean. But I mean, they love it. It's so moving, like Lynn said. It pulls on your heart, I can tell you that. I have had many people that got bikes from me come back years later. Year before last, we had a Hispanic fellow walked in 2 months before the giveaway and said, I was with some people, but he talked to me and he said, when I was 13, you gave me the only bicycle I ever got. He said, I now work at Lockheed, and I think his wife works there too. They had 3 kids, and he said, we saved our money every month. We're buying 5 bicycles, and our kids are, can we come and give them away? And I said, sure. So it's not much, but to a kid, especially that comes from a family that's just been struggling forever, or even not struggling, it's a big deal. That bicycle is your first deal. It's like when you got your driver's license or your first apartment or your first car. It's a major deal to a kid. Like me, I never got a bike. I never had a childhood, really. My dad took me over on the highway when I was 10 or 11 years old, and he'd leave and go hang out with his gangster buddies, and I'm 40 miles from home. No way to get home. So, but I made it through with the help of a lot of good people. And that's what Larry's Kids does for kids and families. But we pride ourselves on 100% of the money goes back to taking care of the kids, not administrative costs. Like you see some of these deals, we have 0 administration cost. When we first got started, 2 or 3 different banks wanted to be part of it, and I told them, whoever writes the biggest check, and you got to waive the fees. The only fee we pay on that is the credit card processing. You have to pay that. But all the rest of it, it's all done free from good people. The folks Solvik that built the website, and then these directors. I mean, it's brings tears to my eyes. I never thought it would get to this. Hell, I never thought I'd get to 1,000 bikes. But anyway, the good Lord, that's the reason He left me. I often wondered when I was in the hospital after I'd been shot why He let me live. And I guess Larry's Kids is the answer. Okay, thanks. All right, we've done our sponsors. Please use them. They help as well as y'all do to keep everything going. But I'm serious. As a heart attack, we have to have donations. You got to help. All museums get donations except this one. And this is the only museum in Fort Worth that's all about Fort Worth. So help me out. Help us out. Because this museum is going to be around after I'm gone. So the museum belongs to Fort Worth.